Hey, this evening I actually made my signature homemade pasta. So I thought I'd do a quick video because it's so easy to make. You do it so quickly and it just tastes phenomenal. But it's very simple. I originally started making this a long time ago using the Fanny Farmer recipe. I had an old Fanny Farmer cookbook and I got the recipe out of that cookbook. And Fanny Farmer had a recipe. It was for making homemade noodles or pasta without a press, without a noodle press. And I've never owned a noodle press. I've never made it with a noodle press, and I think what I make is fantastic. So I really don't care to have a noodle press. But I've been in situations. This happened to me once when my kids were little. I had a big pan of water boiling. I was going to make pasta, and I opened my cabinet, and I didn't have any noodles, no pasta in a box. So I literally within 5 minutes, I had the noodles ready to throw in the water, homemade. So this is basically what you're doing. You're basically scrambling, beating an egg, okay, and then you're cutting flour into it until it gets on the outside. It's dry to the touch, the way that bread dough would be, right? So you can manipulate it. You can put it on a cutting board and it's not going to stick, right? So I have found the perfect ratio for doing this is for every medium-sized egg, about a half a cup of flour. Now I use a mix of whole wheat and white. So I use about of that half a cup, about a third is whole wheat, and then 2/3 is white. I just mix that up, blend it together, and then you cut the egg in. And so here's one of my points here is I think that ratio works really well if you're using some whole wheat, right? Flour, because it absorbs a lot of the egg. If you're not using whole wheat, if you want to do it with just white, you might want to use a little bit more flour, but it's not something you have to fuss over. I mean, you basically like mix this up, and if it's still tacky and wet on the outside, it's going to stick. Just add more flour and keep kneading it until it's dry. And what you want to do is you want to get it dry because you want to use a rolling pin to roll it flat. That's the idea. So I mean, I could do this within like 3-4 minutes, have it ready to roll it out, right? So then you're laid on your cutting board, get your rolling pin, start rolling it out. Just roll it out until it's as flat as you can get it. I don't fuss very much over it. Doesn't take long. And then, since you don't have a press, you're just going to take a butter knife and you literally just start cutting it into little strips. And I make them like, I don't know, 8 inches long or something, 6 to 8 inches long, 9 inches long. And one thing that I found is once you throw it in the water, it expands a lot. I mean, far more than any boxed pasta you're going to get, right? It could go from something really thin to like something really wide like that. So what I do is I cut it as thin as I possibly can, mechanically using my hands. So I cut it as thin as I possibly can. And in the Fanny Farmer recipe, they actually suggested that you use like a drying rack to dry it. And when I first started making it, I followed that suggestion. So I would hang it like on a pan. I take one of my pans and just hang it around the ram. If I ran out of space, I just hang it somewhere else. You could literally just throw it on a cutting board. Really, it doesn't necessarily have to hang. But I guess the idea is they want it to dry a bit. But after making it a few times, I stopped drying it. I mean, I literally just cut it out and throw it in the water, and it doesn't taste any different to me. It doesn't affect it. It doesn't, diminish the quality at all. But, so here's my point. It's that simple. You can make it that quickly, right? And within, I would say 5 to 10 minutes, you could have the noodles ready to throw in the water. And it's just absolutely delicious. It's like, it feels life-giving. You feel like you're being nourished when you eat this homemade pasta this way. It's so good. The other thing I want to mention is you can, two more things. One, you can mix things in with it, right? And with the flour. So I used to put like sage in it and salt. I know I've tried other, like spice. You could put oregano in it, and whatever you want, garlic, mince up garlic and throw it in, but you could put things in it, and it's perfectly fine, and it tastes good. It adds another dimension to the flavor. The other thing I want to mention is with the flours. Um, Generally, I've only purchased. I used to purchase Hodgson Mills, which was one of the three stone uh, flour mills in the country. And a few years ago, they were purchased, and that's all I ever used. There were a couple of times I couldn't get it in the store over like the course of like 25 years. And I would buy like a commercial brand, that was steel cut or steel milled, and I couldn't eat it. I had to give it, return it or throw it out. I couldn't eat it. I baked bread once with it. I couldn't eat it. The only thing I'm able to eat is the stone ground flour. But Bob's Red Mills purchased Hodgson Mills a few years. It was like 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Um, and and after they made the purchase, it became difficult to find Hodgson Mills, and a lot of people started calling them. I called them to find out what was going on, and then they basically killed the company. So they killed the company. They were just wanting more market share. So now I buy the Bob's Red Mills, and I'm telling you, it tastes exactly the same as Hodgson Mills. So the key to this great, tasting flour, to the key to the flavor, is really that it's stone milled. That's really it. So I don't know what the other remaining stone mill flour producer is, but if you can't get Bob's Red Mills, if you can get access, whatever this other one is, I would get it. But anything you make, including the pasta, is just going to taste, in my opinion, exponentially better than if you use like a regular commercial steel milled flour. So that is it. Thank you.